In the early days of June 1989, 4 men were sailing aboard a small yacht named Rose Noelle in the waters off New Zealand. The crew consisted of skipper John Glennie, along with Rick Hellriegel, Jim Nalepka, and Phil Hoffman, who had departed from Picton, New Zealand on June 1, 1989, en route to Tonga for a sailing adventure. They were not reckless men. They had sailing experience and trusted their boat. The journey had been long and exhausting, but nothing felt dangerous. The sea was calm, the sky was quiet, and there were no signs of bad weather. After a full day of work, the men went below deck to rest. They talked a little, ate what food they had, and then slowly fell asleep, rocked gently by the ocean. This moment is important because it shows how ordinary everything felt. There was no fear, no panic, no warning. This calm night created a false sense of safety, making what was about to happen even more tragic. None of them knew that these would be the last peaceful hours they would experience for months. Just before 6 in the morning, that calm ended forever. A deep, frightening roar echoed through the yacht, sounding like something huge moving fast through the water. Before anyone could fully wake up, an enormous wave smashed into the boat. The impact was sudden and violent. The yacht rolled completely over, throwing the men from their bunks. They were slammed into walls, equipment, and each other. Water rushed inside instantly, lights went out, darkness swallowed everything. In just a few seconds, their world was destroyed. When the chaos settled, the men realized the yacht was not sinking, but it was floating upside down. The Rose Noelle was not a large ship at all. It was a trimaran yacht measuring only about 12 meters in length, roughly the size of a modern tourist bus. When the trimaran yacht, Rose Noelle, was violently capsized in June 1989, somewhere in the vast emptiness of the South Pacific, the 4 men on board suddenly found themselves trapped inside the upturned hull in complete darkness, with seawater flooding in and no idea if the boat would sink. Their first instinct was not panic, but survival thinking. Realizing the trimaran was still afloat, they made a crucial decision. Instead of abandoning the vessel into the open ocean, they would stay inside the capsized boat. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, as currents silently carried them over 1,800 kilometers across the ocean. They had no control over direction, but they maintained hope by treating every sunrise as a new chance for rescue. After 118 days lost at sea, the 4 exhausted men from the yacht Rose Noelle, John Glennie, along with Rick Hellriegel, Jim Nalepka, and Phil Hoffman, were no longer thinking in terms of days, weeks, or even rescue. Time had dissolved into a raw instinct to stay alive. Their trimaran had capsized after a violent rogue wave in the South Pacific, leaving them clinging to the overturned hull like insects on a floating leaf in an endless blue desert. They fished with improvised lines made from scraps of rope and metal, ate raw fish, and even learned to catch seabirds that landed on the hull, using patience and bare hands. After nearly 4 months adrift, when hope had become a thin thread, they felt a sudden, jarring scrape beneath the hull. The boat had grounded. At first, they thought it was another illusion of exhaustion, but the sound came again. They scrambled out and saw something unbelievable: land. The current had silently carried them to Great Barrier Island in New Zealand. Too weak to shout, they crawled onto the beach like castaways from another century, their legs trembling after months without solid ground. A local resident walking along the shore spotted them, sunburned, bearded, skeletal figures emerging from a wreck, and quickly raised the alarm. When rescuers arrived, they could hardly believe the story. These men had survived 118 days, drifting across the Pacific with almost nothing. What kept them alive was not just luck, but discipline, teamwork, and a refusal to surrender to despair.